And yeah, I think we're live on Facebook, Jan.
All right.
Oh, you're here. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining. Yes. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Of course, I'm Jason. I'm here with Janlataé Mullins, who's here from, well, you're in Nashville, you just told me.
Yeah.
But she's from Georgia. She's going to share some insight with us today. So happy to have you here.
Yeah. I really love how you threw my name. You're like,
Oh.
I was like, okay. Thanks
That's
for
so
that.
funny. Yeah, but it's okay if I call you Jan?
Yeah,
Okay.
Everybody calls me Jan. So.
Awesome. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just want to start off, and I wanted to read your bio that I found.
Is that how we're going to start?
Yeah, just give you a little introduction, because you're my first guest that I did not know prior to this, which is really, really cool. Like the past couple guests I've known through like my different worlds I've been through, but you're the first person I've met through email. So like, this is so cool to me.
Oh, thanks.
And so I just want to read it first.
Okay.
Jan Mullins is an award-winning.
Do you want to cliff notes it? Do you want to do a Cliff Notes version?
Oh yeah, well I have a version here that was on freethebid.com, which is I think a nice version. That's okay with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jan Mullins is an award-winning writer, director, and producer based in Atlanta, Georgia, who's represented by Bark, a commercial production company. Some of their clients include Fox, Paramount Pictures, Bravo, Focus Features, Hershey, and OWN. Her short films have won numerous awards, and her latest film, Soulfire, won the grand prize for Jack Daniel's Reel-to-Reel short film competition in association with Cold Black Entertainment and the American Black Film Festival. She recently directed a promotional spot for Queen Sugar for OWN, and Jan is a true believer in the power of collaboration, which is what we're all about. So that's why I'm so thankful to talk to you.
I'm so thankful you asked me. And while you're reading my bio, literally, my knees were shaking.
Oh no!
I was like, should I be like this?
No, you're so awesome. I was like watching some of your stuff on Vimeo. I'm just so excited. Like I was like, oh man, this is so cool. So I think we can just start by basically just asking, how are you? I know we're like in this really insane time where it's like nothing I don't think we've ever been through. At least, you know, most of us haven't been through something like this. So like, how are you doing?
You know, surprisingly good, I guess. You know, I think that, first, I will answer your question. Yeah. Well, I guess I should answer your question, but now I'm like, how are you doing?
Oh,
how are you doing with everything?
I'm good for the most part. Like I'm by myself. So I've been talking to my mom every day because she's super concerned.
What's your mom?
I'm sorry?
What's your mom's name?
Oh, her name is Yvonne.
Hey, Yvonne.
Yeah. She probably doesn't watch this. She doesn't really get the technology. She like barely texts me. She's definitely a caller. Just like my dad. But yeah, I'm doing good. Like I'm happy that I'm have this outlet to share space with people in, and you know, it's nice to like have time to do things I don't get time to usually do. So I'm trying to find the positives in it. But it's hard because we're not used to being stuck somewhere. You're not used to like not like embracing people.
Yeah, for sure. And you're in New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, thankfully we have technology where we can talk to people, you know, FaceTime people. You know, I talk to my mom and dad every day. I talk to my nephew who's 1 year and 3 months. I talk to him every night before he goes to bed. And I have, what's his name? Yeah. And I'm really thankful that I actually have really good friends here. I have a really good friend. Her name is Nika, and her family, they've been great friends to me and over the years. And so having them here during this time, and having, I just went over her house like a week ago. I mean, we were, you know, I probably shouldn't, I don't know, whatever. It was fine. It was fine. Been able to kind of be with family.
Of course.
You know, and I've made some really great friends here, good friends, you know, people that you're just starting to get to know, but they have your back in this really awesome way that only God can like provide, you know, a really good church. So I've had a really good foundation here. I have a really awesome roommate too, who just kind of look out for each other. So
That's so important. That's so important. Like,
yeah, it's good.
How could anybody, like, I can't imagine people who are like really alone who don't have that sense of support right now. So it's like, I can't imagine.
Well, I think that's why things like this are super important. I think, you know, when the quarantine first happened, everybody was doing a live, you know what I mean? But it was like, I truly think that was a sign of people wanting to connect. That was a sign of people's, like, their heart's core wanting to be like, I want to help, I want to be a part. This is crazy, you know what I mean? And that's tapered down a little bit, but I think that it's just giving such beautiful room for people to reinvent themselves in their relationships with others, and what that looks like with strangers, what that looks like with, you know, kind of friends, and then with family and stuff. So
that's such a great way to put it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like, you know, everybody's talking about this is kind of like a reset. And if you think about it in that way, like, what does that reset mean for you? You know, and what does that mean for you interpersonally? And then, of course, with people that you don't know that well, but you still have this gift inside of you that can really bring light and hope to other people. And so now we have all this time to be able to do that. And so then I'm always thinking about like the future. I'm always like, you know, yes, there's the psychological effects of what kind of social distancing and us and just this whole thing can bring in harmful ways. But then there's also the power that we have as people. And I believe the power of God in us to turn it into something really beautiful. And what are the pathways down in the future that we don't see? You know what I mean? The ripple effect, and then how all those pathways cross and stuff. So that's always fascinating to me.
Oh, definitely. And I guess a big thing also is like, you know, I'm glad that we're thinking forward, right? Thinking of like what life is going to be like after this, and how do we keep this connection that we have? Because even though, like, you know, we're not physically together, like, I feel like I was talking to some of my friends. I'm like, I've seen you guys, right, more times in the past month than I saw you guys all last year. Just because, you know, we're like all home and we're all like, okay, we want to see each other. Like, let's get on Zoom and we can play games and we can watch How to Get Away with Murder on every Thursday night. Like, it's just easier, much way to like be together, even though we're not together because we're all in different places.
Yeah, but you know what I think about that? I think, again, it's kind of how you think about things. It's like fear was the common core that brought us together. And so in a very positive way, fear can turn the tide and turn into courage, turn into bravery, turn into love, but it's up to us to choose that. You know what I mean? So I think you doing the show and stuff like that and just wanting to connect with people is such a beautiful thing, and definitely steps towards that. And I think I always think about, like, even before this pandemic, I've always had such a heart for people that are older, you know, because I think they have such beautiful stories to tell and lives that they've lived, and such wisdom, and just so empowering. I can never say that word. I always sound like Elmer Fudd.
Sound great.
Yeah, but always thinking about, you know, them being in a nursing home, or their children not visiting them, and what are their lives like after they've given so much to us. And so now we know what it feels like. And so I think that I hope and pray that even makes even a bigger turn down the road, and that I could literally, like, I get so just going off, but just that what we do now matters in all cracks and crevices of the world, especially in the very, very dark places, you know?
That's so beautifully stated. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's so true. Thank you.
Yeah. You're so peaceful and calm when you say thank you. I'm like,
I try to be.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'm gonna let people know that we are going to be taking questions. I have my phone here, so if you have a question or a comment, feel free. I'm definitely going to set little breaks.
Anybody wants to talk about the latest season of The Flash, of Arrow, of Chicago PD, of Blue Bloods, and I think that's it right now. I'm down.
That's
so I'm down.
Yeah, you're all about it.
I am. I am. So
I love that. Let's talk about your background. Like,
okay.
I don't want to give away all the good quotes that I wrote down so many good things that you said in like your on your website, but I love the story about when you were 8 years old. So if you want to go into that,
I will say any quote that you've written, literally, if it was up to me, I would be like, oh no, you know what I mean? Like, it would be like, oh, roses are red. I like mac and cheese. You know what I mean? It is absolutely 100% the Lord. Okay. All these things come out of my mouth. Even sometimes when I say it, I'm like, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally the Lord. So I'm just so, man, thank you.
You have that faith that's guides you.
Yeah. I mean, man, I couldn't even imagine the person that I would be if I had not found the Lord and just really fell in love with God and, you know, just all the things. He's really changed my life. So when I was 8 years old, I remember I got in the car and I told my parents, I had just gotten out of whatever school I was in. I got in the back seat. They were about to pull off. And I said, I know what I want to be when I grow up. And they're like, oh, really? What is it? And I said, I want to either be a filmmaker or a maid, right? And they were like, what? And I said, and if I'm a maid, I'll live with you for the rest of your life. And they were legit like freaked out. I'm sure my dad's hands were like gripping the steering wheel. But what I learned later on is I have such a heart to, and I'm human, you know what I mean? Like when you say statements like this, it's like, oh, okay, you're so, but I'm human, but I do have a heart for people. And I just learned early on when I was working on film sets that in order to be a good leader, you have to know how to serve. And I think that's kind of where my little kid brain, where I got made from, because I just love to care for people so much and see them happy and see them feel fulfilled and see them really in such small ways, feeling like they were happy to be on this earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And so like, as I'm going through, you know, school and just all these things, I just realized that's probably what that meant. And I think that's led me a lot, like as a director and the stuff that I do. And it makes me think about two things. Number one of the things that I started doing when I started directing professionally, there's a friend of mine who who is an artist who I saw in action go and greet every single person. Every single person. And it was, I remember thinking, there's no pretense. He's literally trying to just connect with these people. You know what I mean? And give honor to people that are trying to honor him. Like that is such a big thing, you know?
That's huge, right?
Yeah. And so like I started doing that on my film sets. Like I was already nice, but I remember when I was directing a spot for Oprah and you have all these like lights and crew and blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm always there. Well, except for one of those days I was not there early, which is bad. But other than that, I'm usually, the director's call is usually probably like an hour after, you know, the initial crew call. But I usually get there when the producers get there, either at the initial crew call or earlier before that, because I think there's honor in being able to do those things and start the day with honor. If you go on set with honor, if you honor people with your time and your heart, then you're honoring the space, you're honoring the work you're about to do. And then I started, from seeing this friend, I started going and introducing myself to every single person on set, you know, PAs, like everybody, and just thanking them for being there, because we're just so blessed to be in this space. We're able to create for a living. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's so powerful.
Yeah.
It reminds me of one time I was fortunate enough to be on a set with Whoopi Goldberg. They were shooting this it was a grad student film, and they got Whoopi Goldberg to be in it. And she was the most gracious, kindest, most honest, sincere person, like celebrity I ever met. She did like the opposite of, and maybe she did what you do, because I wasn't there in the very beginning to witness that. But at the end, she stayed and she said thank you and shook everybody's hand. And it wasn't a huge crew. It was like 20 of us, but she stayed around, thanked everybody, hugged people. She was just so gracious. And I was like, if Whoopi Goldberg like EGOT winner can be that personable and genuine and kind to everybody. Like, we all can be that way, right?
Right. Well, when I think about it, you in that position in my mind, I feel like it is such a responsibility. Everything that you have encountered and experienced and been, and the people that have honored you with their love and pouring into you, all leading up to these moments that you're able to pour out all of that love that was poured into you, all those experiences, and just realizing that you're just a placeholder in that moment. You're a placeholder for God to move through you. And so I've always felt like, yes, it's super important what comes out on screen. You know what I mean? Obviously, spirit of perfection and all of that. A spirit of excellence, not perfection. Excellence.
Excellent. I like that, spirit of excellence.
But it's also very, very important to me. First of all, spirit of excellence I got from my pastor, Alan, when I went to church at Full Turn Church. Such great principles there. Yes. But what was more important to me is how people felt when they walked off set. The experience that they had. Yeah, we made a movie. Yeah, we made this cool stuff, blah, blah. But how did they feel after they left this space where we created this magic? Do they go home feeling depleted? Do they go home feeling like they don't matter? That's the opposite of what we want. Because we're here for such a short time. We're just placeholders. And so how can we make that place bright? You know what I mean? And inspire brightness around us.
And that kind of mentality makes people work harder because they feel like they're loved and they feel like they're appreciated for what they're there for. You know, I think little things like what you're saying is just, it's inspiring. It's inspiring. It makes people want to be there every day.
Yeah,
we know how like long film sets are, and you know how much work you have to do, and how much standing on your feet you're doing. But
well, I will say, and film sets are definitely like family. I think any artist community. Another pastor of mine, a traveling visiting pastor, one thing that changed me, like I taught drama in church for like 9 years. I taught in youth ministry.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was, man, amazing. One of the things that changed me was when he said, have ownership over your church. And so for me, I always felt like having ownership meant actually humbling yourself to serve. He always said, if you're walking through that church and you see a piece of trash on the ground and you don't pick it up, are you honoring your church? Are you having ownership over what has been given to you? And so I still feel that to this day. Anyways, I feel like we're like, preach, you know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. It's genuine. It's you. Like I'm here to learn about you and to gain knowledge from you. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Did you go to college? Did you go to like school for filmmaking?
Yeah, I did. So I actually was a late bloomer. I knew that I wanted to be a director when I was 8.
Yeah.
But and I was like writing stories and books and the whole thing. I was like by myself over in a tree somewhere acting out a scene, and all the kids. And I actually tried. There's a show, you probably don't know it. There's a show called Dawson's Creek.
Of course, I know Dawson's Creek.
You know Dawson's Creek?
Yeah.
Have you watched the whole show?
I don't think I watched the whole thing. I do have like the first season on DVD though. Like I remember I saw it.
Got to go all the way through.
I know. I need to.
I mean, you know, just like any show, there are parts that are like, wah, wah, but it's,
yeah.
Anyway, I had a dream and a desire to write for Dawson's Creek. So I took a bus to Wilmington, North Carolina, and stayed for 2 days and found the producer of the show and pitched the story idea that I had to him. He was like, well, I don't want you to pitch it to me because what if you sue me? Because it was literally like a verbal, hey, I have this idea. I came all the way. I was living in North Carolina at the time. And then he was like, I don't want you to sue me. And then I was like, what if I promise I don't sue you? You know? And he was like, okay. And then I pitched to him and he loved it. And then I wrote a treatment. That's a long story. It fell through, but I'm really glad I had that experience. And I was
how brave were you? Holy crap.
Huh?
Like how brave were you to do that?
No, like I said, that was all the Lord, okay? Me shaking the whole time. I was listening to the sermon about this lady. There's a woman in the Bible that was sick for like 12 years. She had like a blood disorder and she was sick. And Jesus was like healing people. And she just kept thinking, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, if I could just touch the hem of his garment. And then when she touched him, immediately, because of her faith, she was healed. So for me, when I was taking that bus to Wilmington, I said, I just need to touch the hem of Dawson Creek's garment, touch the hem, you know? And the Lord completely came through. But so I wrote like 2 movies, and I tried to do it on my own. And every time I tried to do it on my own, the first time was like, oh, this is just a consumer camera. Oh, you know what I mean? And it's like, how am I going to get sound? And then I wrote another movie and did all the casting and and then it was like, oh, how am I going to edit this? You know what I mean? And my pastor, I was trying to do it for church, and my pastor said, listen, I love everything that you're doing. We got to pull it back. He was like, I'd rather have somebody that I pull back instead of try and push up, which is a good, you know what I mean? Talks about passion, you know? But so anyway, after those 2 failures, I was working and like, I was filing. I wasn't horrible at filing. I liked filing, but I was working for temp agencies. I was always getting fired. You know what I mean? Because I was like a photocopy girl, but I was horrible at that. And I kept photocopying these like folders, this of stuff for a recycling company. And I would photocopy it and it would all be offline, and I would throw the whole book away. I wouldn't even recycle it. Like I would throw, and they were like, this ain't, you need to, come on, you need to go. So that didn't work out. But anyway, I just started thinking, like, God, you know, what's the next step? Because I know you called me to do this. And then I really felt the Lord call me to go to film school. And then I was like, well, where, God? And then God called me to go to New York. And I was like, okay, now I've never been out. We had moved to North Carolina for 6 years, but in the mountains, you know what I mean? I had like never been anywhere. So go to New York City was like, oh my gosh. So I started praying and I started fasting, and I was like, God, listen, okay. So this is a long story. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
I can cut it.
No, I'm on the edge of my seat. Keep going.
Okay. So I started looking at, this was way back in like 2007. Okay. And I was like, I started looking on Craigslist because I was looking for a place to stay. And coming from Georgia, if you know anything about Georgia, you have I don't know about now, but you have a massive amount of space for a little bit of money. In New York, I was looking at roommates and stuff, and this is before like Facebook really took off or social media. And so I would open the ad and it would be like some skinny, janky bed, like jammed up with like stains on the side. And like somebody's coat hanging from the thing and like wires. And it would be like, $2,300, you know? And I'm like, I was so afraid. So I said, you know what, God, you called me to go to New York. So if you want me to go, then this is what I would love. I would love to move to a place that reminds me of home and people and stay with people and be, if I'm going to be in a roommate situation, be with people or be around people, even if I was going to live alone, that are like family. And my friend Nika and we connected, we became friends, and then she offered to let me come stay with her in New York. And we literally became family. And I moved to upstate New York. And I got to spend time with her family, and they just poured so much love into me. And to this day, I'm just so incredibly grateful. Well, I'm so incredibly grateful that God answered that prayer. And I was able to study in New York and be with people that really cared about me, and then had family, you know, back home. And it was in a safe environment. It reminded me of Georgia because it was upstate. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And so they just really just were so great during that period. And then I came home, I graduated from the New York Film Academy, and I made 3 short films while I was there. And they were so great being my subjects in my films. And then I moved back to Atlanta, went to the Art Institute of Atlanta, and got a degree there. I met a lot of people there. And then I started kind of producing films, like being an associate producer, just helping pull things together and people, because I was really good with relationships. And I interned with this company called Brothers Young Productions. And I had a really great friend who was my boyfriend at the time, who really brought me into this independent film world.
It's amazing.
And so all of that to say, I think that's why I believe in community so much, because starting from my family, being like, you can do this. There was never a moment that I ever thought that I couldn't be a director, or these things weren't attainable. You know, every day being like, you are somebody. That was her big thing. And all the way up through, you know, the people that supported me before I went to film school, all those actors in my church, you know, seeing the vision. And then my friends and family that are in New York that supported me. And then just all the way through, I've always been so blessed to have people that are like, I believe in you. And so I think they're just seeing God in me. It's not me. It's God wanting to bring something out. And so the best thing to do when you want to bring something out is either pressure, you know, kind of like a diamond, like a hole turning into a diamond, which is where we are right now. And they both can kind of feel the same. You know what I mean? Love is simple, but it's not easy. I think that's the thing. Or is it easy, not simple? No, it's simple, not easy. Some of the best things are. I'm going off on this whole tangent, whatever.
Oh, I love it. That's facts. You're preaching facts. I love that. Wow.
So, and I think what we're doing is exchanging love. You know what I mean? Just every, and it's, anyway. Okay,
like I said, like I told you, I just told you yesterday, like I sent you like the little like outline of the conversation, and I was just like, well, I want to have a conversation. So like, you don't like there's no schedule, you know, like as long as you're here, you're with it, like I'm with it. So thank you.
Well, I try to do my light source as a window. And normally when I've been doing like kind of interviews, I'm doing it like 1 or 2, and the light is like nice. We're close to sundown, and it's normally I'm going to be setting in 30 minutes. So just letting you know where I am in my.
Oh, you look great. There's no like pretense with this, you know. We're just having fun. We're having a good conversation. Can you talk to us about I guess transitioning into creating your own work and like starting Heartbeat Film LLC, your production company?
Yeah.
that's like a very big thing, but
no, I feel like at every point in my career, it's always been God pushing me to take a risk, you know, and I've always been super afraid, but I've done it anyway, which I think is probably why I feel like God trusts me, you know what I mean, to do stuff, and that same powers for everybody too, everybody else. My first risk, I was with that boyfriend of mine, and he was doing music videos. He was doing rap music videos in Atlanta. Okay. I was like, let's do Blade Runner. Let's do The Notebook. You know. And but I wanted to support him, and I wanted to make sure he was getting paid and like all these things. So I was like producing, like helping him. And that way, organizationally, I'm not the best producer. But in that instance, because it was like our household, I was like, no, we're getting this done. I remember one time we went on this music video set, and the guys that I was interning for, I was splitting my time between helping my boyfriend and helping them. And I remember they were doing features and they were just doing the whole thing. But I was like, I want to be on my own. They don't believe that I'm a director. They don't believe I can do this. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, X is doing these music videos. And I remember one time I had to pay the crew that we had hired, and the guy running the show, he said, okay, let me give you this money. And I say it like this because that's how it felt. He was like, let me give you. And I remember, I don't know if it was a paper bag or a plastic bag. He gave me a bag full of fives that was like $5,000. And
Oh
listen,
my
I
gosh.
grew up like really sheltered and really suburban. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
really, you know, I was like, it was like fives and tens. And I was like, why would he give me all this money in fives and tens and now I have to count it? You know, later my friends were like, girl, you know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But I remember he was like, he wanted me to count it right then with all these extras and all these people. And in my mind, I kept thinking about my dad. Okay. My dad, who's like, listen, even when you go to the gas station, you need to lock the door. Okay. You
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
who's jumping in your car. I'm like, it's crazy. So I went, it was literally 11 o'clock at night. I remember I went into me and my boyfriend's car at the time, and I sat in that car and I counted
All
fives and
those
tens.
fives and tens.
And even thinking about it makes me tear up because I remember I was trying to decide. I was praying. I was like, God, you know, what path should I take? Which is so obvious now. And I just felt like, you know what? My daddy did not raise me to sit in some car at 11 o'clock at night, counting fives and tens for $5,000 for a music video. Okay. And I quit that night. I was like, I quit. And then a part of the video where these girls were like, these girls, so stupid. These girls were like dancing in this warehouse, but they all had very scantily stripper clothes. And I remember I was trying to help them pick out their clothes. And I said, remember, you want to leave something to the imagination. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and what's so crazy is how you can change the atmosphere of a room, because a lot of these girls, you know, they might have had G-strings or this. And I was like, no, that blue looks so great on you. It really leaves a little mystery. And these girls said, really? And they started to feel empowered and were putting on more clothes, which probably didn't make her happy, but that's what we ended up with. So number one, I was like, I was birthed for more than this, and I quit. But number two, you can change the atmosphere of a room. Anyway, long story short, I started working with the guys. I started producing and directing, helping produce these features and then directing short films and stuff. And then another risk that I had taken, they gave me the opportunity to direct some stuff and it did really well. And then a friend of mine needed a trailer for a film and then for a play. And I asked her, she had a promo for it. She said no. So me and my ex got together, we made the promo. And that was a big risk because it was the first time I was stepping outside of the company that I was working for, interning and kind of like producing, you know, but not really being utilized to the best of my ability. And everybody in there knew it. They just didn't know what to do with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that got the attention of the owner of Bark Bark. He saw it. Everybody was talking about it in town. He saw it and asked me to meet him for lunch or for coffee. And then I showed up for coffee and he didn't have any coffee. I thought we were going out for coffee, but he had coffee there. And then he was like, I want to offer you a job. And I was like, what? I was like, what is coffee? You know what I mean? I was really bummed because I was like, you brought me over, we're not gonna have any coffee, you know? So and then he offered me a job and I was like, well, I'm directing this feature. I feel like this is turning into a long story, so I'm going to cut it right there.
No, I'm engaged. I'm ready. I want to hear it all.
No, I mean, that's it really. Just a lot of risks along the way. And so where I ended up is I did end up doing some really great stuff and with some really great people. Chris Anthony Hamilton is a director that I work with a lot. And he's a DP and he shoots a lot of my stuff. And, you know, I had done the promos for Clean Sugar and Oprah, and then just all the things, Pantene. And at that time, I took another risk. And there's this song that I really liked that a friend of mine had. And I told Chris, I said, I want to make a dance video for this song. And what's so crazy about it is, again, it's about how you think. It's just that I was planning on doing a whole nother song. And my friend was like, no, why don't you do this song that's about to come out and ask if you could do the music video? And I was like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I love this song so much.
Oh, okay.
They had already had a director for it. And I love the song so much. And I thought it had so much power that it made me feel like I wanted to dance. So I said, well, and I really wanted to help. You know what I mean? You know, when you just feel passionate about somebody's gift or you know, what people put out there.
You want to be a part of that. Like it makes you
want to help. You want people to see what you see. You know what I mean? It's like, again, it's kind of like God. You want people to know how loving God is. You want people to know how great God has been to you. You know, not that this person or this song was a God, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course.
Anyways, so anyway, we ended up doing a dance film for the song, and the person really liked it and it did really well. And it again shifted my career into doing more personal projects that I really felt, and not just commercials. And then that's what led to Soulfire. That year I had done that dance film, Soulfire, and something else. And it really shifted me.
So we're just open to new challenges, open to advice. You're just open to God's message to you.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what led you to, wow, that's...
I mean, what makes you want to create? What excites you?
Me personally? I just feel like there's so many things in my head and like experiences that I feel like I don't see out in media, that I feel like I can have a part of that and I can share that story, because a lot of people like me maybe don't have that visual representation either, you know? So I'm all about creating work or creating stories or helping other people create work and stories that they don't see. And that's kind of the reason why, like, I wanted to be a part of Kabila, like where I started it, because I wanted to have people feel empowered to create what kind of work that resonates with them, you know? Because I feel like every story, or not every story, but even if you have a very specific story, right? If it's truthful, if it's honest, if it's sincere, no matter if it's about like, I don't know, like drag queens in Saudi Arabia, like if there's a humanness to it, anybody can relate to that, you know? I feel like give more people the opportunity and like the empowerment and the support, like we gave your friend with the video, like that they can get their work and their art seen.
Well, no, let's not. This didn't need my help. Okay.
No. But still, you probably open up to people who wouldn't have never seen it, you know? Like, you probably your video, maybe they didn't see the other person, the other work of the other person, but like they saw that video, which led them down a rabbit hole to getting to see more of their work, you know?
I think the song was amazing. And I think, and if people want to check it out, it's She Sets the City on Fire. Check out the original video as well. I think I'm
gonna write that down and I'm gonna put it inside the comment. She Sets the World on Fire.
She Sets the City on Fire by Gavin DeGraw.
Oh, Gavin DeGraw.
And the whole song is brilliant. I think he co-wrote it with someone. But Gavin's just great artist. And what am I trying to say?
His voice is amazing.
Let me tell you something. He's very talented, talented, to the point that the world doesn't really know. You know, it's kind of like that superhero. I know, but it's kind of like that, the origin story, right? Like they performed at this level, but when they get connected to the keys, you know what I mean? Then it's man. So anyway, so that whole album, it was an album called Something Worth Saving. That whole album is amazing. There's a song on there called You Make My Heart Sing Louder, which is a just beautiful, soul-stirring, just song that I think people can think about with love, songs that I've listened to and I felt the Lord, you know, and people can just release and let go. I mean, there's so many great songs. Anyways, stop talking.
No, you're great. I want to see if we have any questions from our peeps. Oh, sorry. Nika's watching. She says, hi, Jen.
Aw, tell her.
Yeah, she says, yes, Jess.
You can see me.
My friend Tandrea says she loves that song. So
she does?
Yeah.
It's great. I feel like people need to bring it back out right now because people can dance to it. If somebody can put it on TikTok and make like a TikTok dance out of it.
Are you on TikTok?
No, I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
The way my age is set up, okay. No, I'm not, but I don't want to get sucked down the rabbit hole because my number one thing that I love is dancing. I love good music, dancing, conversation, food. Now, the conversation and food is not on TikTok, but I will probably be eating food and watching TikTok because I love it. I love dancing so much. I really want to make music films. Aww. And I really do. I really want to make films that touch people to take those two worlds and converge them. And I know it's not the first time that it's been done, but I just have such a heart and desire to do that, to tell stories that really reach in the depths of people's hearts and then rip it out with music. You know what I mean? So
I love that. That's amazing. I love talking to you. We could talk for like 3 hours. So talk to me.
Nobody loves it, so let's just keep it short. It's better than me wanting more.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
How was it when you worked on Blackbird?
Well, it's fine. I was the associate producer, so it's with that company, and I think we were like the second unit or something like that, and the unit, whatever. And I think with Blackbird, I can't remember how I helped with Blackbird. I mean, like I did this film with Burt Reynolds.
Oh wow!
And the company that I was with, they produced it, and like the kind of stuff that I did was like I got a whole hair and makeup school because we had a low budget to come in and study get on-set experience under actual heads of departments, and they would help us on big days when we had extras and stuff. And this is like when the film industry was really, really starting in Atlanta. You know, the tax credit had been signed, but it had just been a few years. So it was like you weren't taking advantage of people. You were just kind of trying to give, experiences. And then making relationships with restaurants for catering, and they would give us really good deals. And I'm really like the best friend of, oh, you need this? Okay, let me help you do this. That kind of thing.
Which is important when you're making movies. Like you need that.
Yeah. So I really hesitated for a long time to call myself a producer because I know people like Gabrielle Pickle, that's a great producer. Linda Burns, that's a great producer. People that are actually like really line producing or actually just producing, you know what I mean? And have that organizational mindset and have all the things. And I was more like, that's why I quickly was like associate producer, because I was just connecting people and just kind of helping in those ways. So yeah, I'm doing more producing now in terms of creative producing with projects and stuff. But for a long time, I kind of didn't have that on there because I'm a director. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to take somebody else's job, that they're really good at. Like, no.
That's so great. Who are some of your inspirations? Like some of your people that, of course, I'm sure your parents are on there.
Yeah, for sure. My dad's a really hard worker and he loves my mom and they love each other. And my mom is just a dreamer, man. She's a dreamer, but she also gets stuff done. My dad's really good at talking to people and they're just a really good team. And I think I got both of those things from them. My sister, her husband, my nephew, just that family unit. For me, it's gonna sound really weird, but like, to me, number one, my hero is God, because, and Jesus in a sense, but God for sure, because I have a relationship with him every day. I talk to God every day. So it's like, he's my best friend. You know what I mean? And I'm sure some people are like, talking to God, are you being like, hello, good sir? No, it's like, in your heart, in your head. But I would say God is my hero, to be honest, not to be cheesy, but, and then I find people to be my heroes in terms of how I see people use their hearts to love other people. Like everyday encounters are so powerful to me. that people and all their flaws and all the things become my hero in a weird way, because I see the potential and I see the now, like, you know what I mean? But in those ways, I get hurt too. So, but I don't rely on people. You know what I mean? I guess sitting back as a director and as a person, I can see, you know, my friend Ashley, her father passed away from, he had Alzheimer's, and he was a musician. And they actually have a really good documentary out right now. Her dad was Glenn Campbell, and who's like a country music legend, which I didn't really find out until later when I moved to him. But she, you know, helped. She went on tour with him and helped him when, you know, kind of, she was like his living, breathing heart, holding his hand as he's doing the last, you know, tour that he had. Stuff like that, that's heroic to me, because it's so selfless, you know what I mean? Seeing my dad go into early retirement because he knew that he had to be there for my mom after she had a double lung transplant. That's being a hero to me. Even our family that would drive overnight to just be with my mom for one night in Florida from Atlanta, that's a hero. So I don't know. That's what I think. You're so... Awesome. You need to stop. You need to stop. No, who are your heroes?
I feel like, I mean, I'm the same way. I feel like people who are just able to be completely honest in what they do or in the stories that they tell are people that inspire me. Like, and it could be not even just filmmakers. It could be musicians. It could be, you know, actors. It could be people, like just anybody who's willing to be brave and be open and be honest with who they are and with what they want to share with us is what inspires me. I think really keeps me going. And what you just said about like people that's out there just like they drove overnight to support your mom, and that's like powerful, you know, because like showing up for people is important.
Yeah, it is.
And I feel like not everybody does that, you know, because I mean, and I don't want to blame anybody or fault anybody, because we all have our worlds, right, that are craziness, but the friends and the family that we rely on that can be there for you, that's like, wow.
Yeah. And even, you know, some people always think about that, and I'm like, again, that's a place of growth. Like, I'm sure there are times in my life that I wasn't there for people like I should have been. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I think that, always remember this Oprah quote, when I think she got it from Maya Angelou, I don't know, where she's like, when you know better, you do better. And I just think when people aren't there, it's just they don't know better, or they're choosing it. And again, something needs to pierce their heart so they can make a different choice. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, the heart is a deep well. So, okay. Who's your next guest and what's our time right now? Because...
Oh, I mean, my next guest, like today?
No, well, your next guest.
No. Oh, next week. Next week is Sadar Dunjanjay. Said that wrong. I wrote it down so I wouldn't say it wrong. Dunjanjay. Yeah, he's an actor. He's gonna be on Tuesday.
Cool. Yeah. Why do you like him? Or why do you want to talk to him?
So I used to run an acting school, and I was fortunate to work at this school for 3 years. I got to meet so many creative, inspiring, talented people. And he is an actor that was also a musician, and he booked a role on this little independent film, and that kind of like changed his life. So I wanted to learn like what that was like. You know, he's went from working on that movie to being on the Amazon series, and he just worked with not The Rock, who's the guy from the Fast and Furious movies, bald head, action star.
Jason.
No, Vin Diesel. So I just want to hear about what his experience is like. Because I find that inspiring, you know, people who are doing what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
That's what inspires me as well, you know.
Cool.
And how you sharing those tips. And like sharing those tips, those little secrets, you know, because what we do is like, it's not just 1 + 1 = 2. you know, there's so many different ways you get to the next level. So I'm always just like curious about other people's journeys.
Yeah, for sure. Are you like also doing a blog? Like a little draft blog?
I should. I haven't been. I've been trying to write the script I've been working on for like 3 years.
Ooh, look at you.
Yeah, I had like a breakthrough this week finally. So that was nice. Because this whole quarantine time, I haven't been able to really write. It's been so
yeah. Is it a feature?
It is a TV show. It's a pilot I'm working on. I submitted it to a couple places in 2018, a contest called The Blacklist with Lena Waithe. Got some good feedback on how to make it better. I kind of put it away for a little bit, and I was like, let's bring it back now. Like, I felt like it was time to.
First of all, let me just say that I am extremely proud of you. I'm proud of you because it takes a lot to put yourself out there, and then it takes a lot to get the feedback and go back to it. Okay, like continue to put your art out there and continue to just love on people through your words. Okay, I'm really proud of you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, what's our time, Jason? We can't.
Yeah, we have like 10 minutes, so I do want to take a couple questions from.
Really quickly, before you take these questions, I also want to say that I have a really amazing friend. Her name is Andrea Thomas.
Yeah.
But her stage name is Andrea Thomas. And she's a great songwriter. And she has, number one, she's developing a TV show called Sound of Hope about mental health and wellness. But she also has a song coming out. And it's amazing for this time. It's called Dragon Slayer. And I think it's Andrea Thomas music, and the song is called Dragon Slayer, and I think it's coming out in a week. And then Nika has a really awesome, she's just doing a whole bunch of really cool things, just speaking to the hearts of people. And she has a Facebook group that's private, so you have to join. And she and all the people in there share family recipes, and they bake together, and they just love on each other during quarantine time and relish in like old family memories and stuff, and then where we can go forward now together. And she has a website, nikatagraw.com. I just want to let everybody know, like, all these people that I'm so proud of.
I love this. Thank you so much. I wrote down really quick. I'm probably going to ask you again or after, make sure I get everything. Because my writing is chicken scratch. I don't know if you can see that.
That's okay. Sign of creativity. Okay.
Okay, cool. I have a question from Carrie. He said, was there a specific project you directed or produced that helped the doors open in the industry? Or was it networking? Was it both? I guess you want to touch on that a little bit more.
Oh gosh. Yeah, the biggest thing that helped open doors in the industry was community. Being friends with people and empowering them and helping them achieve their dreams and really believing in them. Then it created this mutual exchange of love and just, I want to see you soar. If I go, you go. You know what I mean? My friend always used to say in college, because I never had any money in college when I went to the art institute, I used to go over her house, and she would be like, girl, we gonna get some fish or whatever it was. And I was like, oh, I don't have any money. She said, girl, if I eat, you eat, right?
Yes.
And it's kind of the same idea. And that also happened in church all the time. And so I think I've taken that mentality, like, you know what, if I eat, you eat. You know, if you have dreams, let's go after it. Let's see what can happen, because you have a voice. And so I think doing that, then when I was ready to create things that I really cared about, people came out in droves to help me do that. And again, not like a point system, like, oh, I did it. It was truly just out of love, because you really supported one another. So that was the first step, is not looking at somebody like your competition, but looking at them as an ally, as another soul on this earth that has something important to say, and how can you be a part of bringing that to life? Me and Chris's biggest thing was when we created was in the Atlanta film community, so amazing. The biggest thing was we would always say, what do you need? When I came to Chris and I said, I want to do this dance video, he said, okay, what do you need? And that changes things. So long story short, I think just moments where I made the choice to follow my heart and to follow the hearts of people, doing the promo for my friend, doing those commercials to get me to a point where there were rental houses that became my friends because they believed in my work and we worked together. So then I can go and do the Gavin video, you know, Gavin dance film, and then so on and so forth. So I think just getting to a place where you entrust your heart to other people and vice versa, I think will really help make the next leap. And I also believe, for me, I also believe that if you talk to God about what you desire and it aligns with his heart, he'll make a way. So.
Love that. Thank you. Great question, Carrie. It's also Carrie's birthday today. So happy birthday, Carrie.
Wait, is it Carrie Schrader?
No, Carrie Vishwanathan.
Yeah. Oh, I have a friend, Carrie Schrader. It's her birthday.
Oh my God. Well, happy birthday to that Carrie as well. That's so cool.
Happy birthday to
Oh, Nika put the video in the comments.
Oh, she's so
Thank you, Nika.
She's so sweet.
Oh, please ask Jan about her online film class. From Nika.
Hear her now in her New York accent, okay? What are you thinking? So I am teaching an online screenwriting class with this place called The Porch, Tennessee. It's a writers collective, and you can go to The Porch Nashville, I think. But it's open to anybody all over the world. And basically it's a 6-week course that's going to be online once a week for 2.5 hours. And basically just taking people through basic screenplay structure, story, all that stuff. But really the main goal of the class is if you have an idea or a script that you've been working on to help cultivate and bring out your voice and bring out your heart and the power in your voice to really make that script shine. So giving you the basics, but then also allowing you to define what it is about you and your voice that will change the world through the script, or just change the atmosphere. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but and so there'll be one-on-one sessions, there'll be in-class participation, and at the end you'll have a final script that's ready to shoot. And then we're also, the part that I'm really excited about, I have a group of friends that are actors that you get to audition for a staged reading, an online stage reading. And then you do the online stage reading and you can invite your family and friends. And then you will also get a copy of the reading at the end.
I love that. When does it start?
May 4th.
May 4th. Can you send me this information as well?
I can.
I can share with my network as well. This sounds phenomenal.
I can.
Sounds exactly what I need, actually. Thank you, Nika. Nika's hooking it up in these comments. I'm just seeing if there's any more questions.
But also, that She Said song, make sure you check out the original music video, because Gavin's in there singing his butt off, okay? All the
riffs and those runs, man.
And then his other music videos too, and check out that album because it's good. Anyway,
awesome. I definitely will.
Yeah.
My favorite. I'll tell you about after.
Okay. No, wait. What is it?
Well, I was going to talk about how much I love Gavin DeGraw's his Chariot album. He has a strip version, and he has a song on there called "Nice to Meet You Anyway," and that song literally makes me cry every single time I hear it. Like I've heard it. It's like this is 2 decades old now, but like every single time.
What's your favorite lyric?
I don't want to get. Oh gosh, it starts with "I don't want to get too close."
Yes.
Well, you put me on the spot. I don't know.
Yeah. My favorite line.
Go
ahead. No, go. What is it?
I was gonna say you're amazing, and I'm terribly distracted, but I'm trying not to be verbal. And I'm back into the. I don't want to ruin it. I'm ruining it.
No, it's great. My favorite line is he goes, "I believe you're very fine." Listen, that was like the most like suburban schoolgirl way. He had way more soul when he sang that fine line. Okay, so much soul that you know that he knew what he was talking about when he sang. It's a great song. Yeah,
it is.
Let's see. Do you like any old school stuff?
Yeah, I listen to Etta James. I got into Nina Simone after that documentary, the Nina documentary. So I have like this old school playlist I play sometimes when I'm like cooking or like cleaning. It's like my like Has Aretha on there.
Yeah.
Simone has Etta James.
Aretha, have you seen that Aretha Franklin documentary about
about her in the church, right?
Yeah, you had a stank face. That's how I know that either you saw the trailer or you saw
No.
So great.
No, I haven't seen it yet. How is it?
I want to see it. I love her when she sings Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love Donny Hathaway, Sam Cooke, Otis Redding. There's a song called Dreams by Otis Redding. That's one of my favorite songs.
Get you in the feelings, right?
Many. Yeah. Anyway.
What's your favorite Aretha song?
There's Bridge Over Troubled Water. I know it's not her song, but that song.
Yeah, her version is. Yeah,
her version of it. And then, gosh, I don't know. I love a lot of them. I don't know why I'm thinking Have a Little Faith in Me. That's not her. Isn't that John Hyatt?
She probably has a version too.
Huh? Yeah, she has a version, but I'm saying like.
If she's the original singer.
I'm sure if I started hearing them, then I would totally be like, oh yeah, this, you know. Yeah. I love, I really love, man, all of the songs are skipping me right now, which is awful because
I know
I'm such a fan.
Rocksteady, Baby I Love You. I think that's an underrated one.
Baby I Love, baby.
Yeah. Oh, baby, sweet baby. That one.
Oh, wait. I don't know that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll send it to you. I'll share my playlist with you.
I'll make you a playlist. And you'll make me a playlist.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that would be great.
I have one more question for you.
Mm-hmm. This has been fun, by the way. Thanks for being my friend.
Thank you for joining me and
here we go. Thank you for being a friend.
Oh, you haven't heard that remix? But
yes,
I love that remix. Me and my friends send it to each other like every week. We put it in our group chat. When he's doing all those crazy riffs.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. Question.
Oh yes, I was gonna say just the top 5 things you recommend for us to consume during quarantine. It could be an album, it could be a song, a recipe, a YouTube channel, a podcast, anything.
Okay.
I know it's a tough question.
I know this can sound so any spiritual books that you can get your hands on. I'm reading a book right now called And David Perceived He Was King. And I'm looking down because it's actually my TV. It's actually my phone stand right now.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
It's a great book because it talks about how David, do you know anything about David and Goliath?
I mean, a little bit.
Basically, Goliath was this bully, monster. And he was like, your God sucks, blah, blah. And David was like, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that's talking about my God? All y'all just sitting here letting him say these things. And then David took out a slingshot and popped him in the head and killed him. And so David was just like a young boy. He had only been in one battle before that, I think, with some kind of lion. But anyway, everybody else is scared and he did it. And so in the book, it's just talking about how David got to the place where he was king, which was recommended by my Grow group, which is a Bible study group. And what was I trying to say? Because I was about to say I go to Legacy Church. I'm always trying to do the director. Me is always like, oh, make sure.
What's the name of that one? I just want to make sure I get it down. And David
Perceived He Was King. And it's by Dale Ale. Well, Ale. I say Ale because I'm from Georgia, but it's an actual L.
Oh,
Dale
okay.
Mast. That's the. But what the book talks about is how David had so much faith that he killed Goliath. But he said it was like David has faith to kill Goliath. But the real thing is, does he know his identity and whose he is in order to take the throne? It's one thing to have faith for something, but it's another thing to truly believe that you are, your identity is in God, and that you can actually possess the things that were called for you. You know what I mean? And actually sustain it. So for some people that could be marriage. You know what I mean? Girls been like, oh, I want to get married. But then all their hurt and pain and stuff is not and them putting their identity in that and not their identity in, well, God has said that I am a great woman. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, to actually sustain the marriage that they seek for career, whatever. Something Worth Saving album, great album. I think so. Lauren Daigle's album, what is it called? Her newest album is amazing. Of course, anything Donny Hathaway, Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, Billie Holiday, Etta James. Podcasts, I've actually been listening to this podcast called Royal Blood, which is like, it's like telling the history of like royal deaths that happened, I think, something like that. It's a really good podcast.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Gavin has a podcast called How Men Think. It's pretty good.
Yes.
Since you like Gavin, you would like that. It's a great one. Him and all the hosts, they're like really funny and insightful too.
That's awesome.
Lot of dad advice on that.
Gotcha.
Like good, solid dad advice.
I'm down.
Let me think. TV shows, again, I've already said them at the top.
The Arrow, yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I'm really still discovering.
That's a good list so far.
Quarantine. One thing I did hear though is that you have to set a routine for yourself, and start with one thing every day. So then it'll become a routine. And I love walking. I walk probably 4 to 6 miles a day.
Hey, girl, that's awesome.
That's so big.
I probably walked 4 miles this whole month.
I'll get into these kicks of walking 4 to 6 miles, and then I'll take like a day or two off. Sometimes, because the other day I walked 10 miles.
Oh my gosh.
I'll just put music on and it's like driving for me. I love road trips.
Yeah, same.
Man, just
put some tunes on and just drive with the windows down.
Talking to people, you could go forever.
That's what I miss. That's like one of the things I miss about like not living. I'm from Connecticut originally. Just like not driving like ever when you're in New York, you know. It's like,
yeah.
I just want to get away.
You should. When all this is over, you should treat yourself. You should treat yourself and go do a writer's retreat for yourself.
I've always thought about doing that.
Oh, do it. Do it. Bring your favorite snacks. I like cheese. Okay.
Oh man. I get so much cheese every week when I go.
Yeah. Just do one day. Take a train, take a car, go out, get an Airbnb somewhere, and just allow yourself to feel. That's the last thing I want to say. And then we do got to cut it because we're like way over.
Yeah.
The time, but I assume. The last thing I will say is that somebody asked me, what is the key right now, I guess, or what are you feeling right now about this time? And I was telling Nika, I said, I feel like there's a tug of war. There's a pressure to create because I know people need it, especially when I hear people talk and it's like my heart feels for them because I have such a passion for artists to create. But the other part of me just wants to sit on my bed and pull the covers over my head and not do anything. But she let me listen to this song by this band that she loves called Blue October. We were listening to their concert. And in the concert, I was like, I remember he was singing and it was so inspiring. Oh, get Andrea's single, Dragon Slayer. That's another one. Dragon Slayer.
Yes.
I remember hearing him sing and I felt so inspired. I felt me almost being called out of the state that I was in to create. And so that's one of the biggest things that I feel right now is I do feel like this is a great moment for artists and people to live out the artist's heart in them. You know what I mean? Whether that's holding the door for somebody, taking baked goods to, you know, somebody's house at a good social distance and disinfected and all that stuff, but also creating from their heart, writing, putting shows together. Don't wait for the perfect time. I think it's so important for people to feel right now. I think that's the key to kind of busting out of this thing with something we've never seen, is allowing people to feel and to dream, even in the hardest of circumstances. This really quickly, there's this woman named Holly Brett that's a mutual friend of people in Atlanta in the film industry. And she was was diagnosed with, she got coronavirus. And she was talking about her experience in hospital, and I think she's on the mend, she's doing good, but she was like, if you experience this, you can't do this alone. Don't let anybody that you know do this alone. They need you. And then she's talking about the mind, to only enjoy good things, to only let in good things, good shows, joy. And it just made me realize that even in the darkest of places, people still need joy. Even if she was talking about people on their deathbeds alone. And that really hurt me. But then I also felt like, people being alone, they need to know the good news, the joy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As how great this life was, and they're not alone because that love exists. And so I think us putting stuff out there and artists pouring out inspires this person, the next person, the next person. That could be that nurse that's in the room with that person. You know what I mean? All of it matters. All of it matters. Just allow yourself to feel and create and watch what God can do. I think that's the biggest thing that I feel.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah, this is an honor to talk with you, and
you too.
To hear all these little nuggets of information, and you're powerful.
I didn't really talk about film, so I'm sorry.
No, I mean, you talked about everything I need to hear. Like this is what we talked about was what we needed. Like thank you.
And thank Nicole for hooking us up.
Yes, I had written that down. Nicole, she's so amazing.
Do you know the name of her company?
Teatro Goril, right?
What was that?
Teatro Goril.
Yeah, can you write in the comments so people know that?
Nicole who brought us together, she's a phenomenal person and writer, and she came to Kabila a lot when she was in New York, and but now she's back in Nashville, and she's a connector. She's one of those people that connects, obviously. She got us together, and I'm thankful to her. So thank you, Nicole.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody, I think Nika said she's obsessed with Blue October. Yeah. I saw all these.
Blue October, if you're out there, listen. This girl is so amazing, has such a beautiful heart, has such passion for people, and has such passion for your music that if you have not talked to her, you need to talk to her now, because your music has inspired her. And and that's such a great thing when artists inspire other people, because it inspires art out of them, just like with you and Gavin. Okay.
Facts. So thank you. Thank you for watching and tuning in and sharing your comments. Nika, you're like our guest co-host in the comments. She came through for us.
Great. Thank you for talking to you.
Of course. Have a good day, okay?
Yeah. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, guys.